Okay, think about this. You probably interact with it every single day. You spend hours scrolling through it. Yet the underlying mechanics of India's massive streaming industry are kept almost entirely out of sight. Today, in this explainer, we're taking a deep dive into the brutal, honestly brilliant economics behind your favorite apps. Prepare to have literally everything you thought you knew about your evening binge watching completely turned upside down. 482 million. I mean, just take a second to really process the sheer scale of that number. That is exactly how many Indians are watching streaming platforms right now, completely for free. No credit cards, no monthly fees, just pressing play and diving straight into their favorite content.
And that brings us to the core paradox we're unpacking today. See, India has a staggering 601 million OTT users in total. That's practically half the country. But only 119 million of them are actually paying for their subscriptions. That means a massive 80% of the audience is watching for free. So, you have to ask yourself, who exactly is funding the crores being spent on those high-budget web series, the blockbuster movies, and the live cricket matches we all love?
Well, to find the money, we got to look at the battlefield itself. And wow, the disparities are wild. JioHotstar leads the pack with an unbelievable 300 million subscribers, making it the second largest streaming platform in the entire world. Way down the ladder, you have Amazon Prime Video at 65 million and Netflix India sitting at roughly 20 million. JioHotstar is absolutely dwarfing its competition in raw numbers. But as we're about to see, in India, raw numbers definitely don't tell the whole story.
Right, so how on earth are more than 40 different platforms miraculously surviving this chaos? It all comes down to three basic playbooks. First up is SVOD, or Subscription Video on Demand. This is the classic model where you pay a flat monthly fee for a pristine, ad-free experience. Then there's AVOD, Advertising Video on Demand. This is where you watch for free, but advertisers foot the bill to get their products in front of your eyeballs. And finally, the hybrid model. This one brilliantly captures the best of both worlds. It gives you a free, ad-supported tier to pull you in, with the option to pay to remove those ads once you're totally hooked on a show.
And the contrast in how these platforms make their money boils down to entirely different pricing strategies. Netflix is playing a fiercely premium game, charging anywhere from 149 rupees for a mobile-only plan all the way up to 649 rupees a month. On the flip side, JioHotstar's mass-market pricing starts at just around 41 rupees a month. Netflix is essentially demanding a massive premium, banking on a very specific type of viewer who is willing to pay more for exclusivity.
Now, you might be wondering, does that premium strategy actually work? Oh, absolutely it does. 4,000 crore rupees. Even though Netflix only captures about 6% of the subscriber base in India, they generated roughly 4,000 crore rupees in India revenues in FY 2025. Their net profit surged 63% year on year. It just proves that a pure premium tier model can be incredibly profitable without needing hundreds of millions of users. It's a textbook example of quality of revenue over sheer quantity of users.
But let's flip it and look at the absolute giant of the ad-supported world, YouTube. YouTube commands over a third, 37.7% to be exact, of the combined streaming advertising and subscription revenue in India. And honestly, the most mind-blowing part? YouTube makes thousands of crores without producing a single piece of original content itself. It relies entirely on creators and viewers. It is an absolute masterclass in ad-funded economics. So, how do the other platforms even compete for these massive user bases? Well, in India, there's one undisputed king, and that is cricket. JioHotstar surged from 50 million to 300 million subscribers in just 4 months. Why? The IPL. Cricket in India isn't just entertainment, it's practically a religion. For streaming platforms, it is the ultimate subscription forcing function. If you want to watch India play, you really have no choice but to pay the toll.
Now let's kind of flip your assumption about ads for a second and look at why these platforms actually love giving you free cricket. On traditional TV, an advertiser pays to reach 10 million people, but they have no idea who those people actually are. It's just a blind crowd. But with OTT, an advertiser might pay to reach exactly 50,000 people, but they are precisely targeted based on your behavior, your location, and even your income. Advertisers are more than happy to pay massive premiums because knowing exactly who you are is absolute gold.
And look, because India is such a deeply price-sensitive market, where, let's be honest, most everyday folks just won't justify dropping 500 rupees every single month on streaming, advertising becomes the real cash cow. We are talking about astronomical scale here.
The AVOD market in India is projected to absolutely explode to $4.5 billion by 2030. That means advertising is actually a much bigger, much faster-growing game than direct consumer subscriptions. That's where the real money is being minted. So how do they keep all those advertisers happy? Simple. A staggering data advantage. Every single time you pause, rewind, or skip an episode, you're generating data. They can even predict the exact week you're going to cancel your subscription. They use this mobile-first consumption data to heavily personalize your recommendations, and more importantly, to fund incredibly targeted regional blockbusters in Tamil, Telugu, and Malayalam, which, by the way, is exactly how mega hits like RRR and Pushpa exploded onto our screens.
This actually brings us to a really major shift in perspective. We kind of need to totally reframe how we view content costs. When Netflix spends billions on shows, it looks like a massive expense, right? But it's actually a compounding asset. Take a hit show like Sacred Games, released way back in 2018. Years later, it's still sitting in the library, still drawing in new viewers, and still acting as a magnet that drives brand new subscriptions. It pays for itself over and over again, long after that initial production budget was spent.
And building this immense library leads directly into what's known as the Premier Access model, which is completely changing the movie industry as we know it. Here's the new formula. Step 1. A big Bollywood film hits theaters. Step 2. You wait just 4 weeks. Step 3. It's available directly on your TV as a rental for 149 rupees. Millions of Indians much prefer paying 149 rupees at home rather than 500 rupees at a multiplexer. The platform captures the rental fee and, boom, keeps you locked safely inside their ecosystem.
But here's the catch. Securing these mass audiences and keeping them locked inside that ecosystem, it is brutally expensive. Just look at the stakes here. 23,575 crore rupees. That is the staggering amount of money JioHotstar paid just to keep the digital rights for the IPL for 5 years. Because if you don't have sports rights, you don't get the mass subscribers. No subscribers means no ad revenue. It's basically a high-stakes poker game where the buy-in is billions and only the absolute biggest players can afford a seat at the table.
Which brings us face-to-face with a pretty harsh reality. Your average Indian household is only budgeting maybe 500 to 800 rupees a month for streaming. They subscribe to 2, maybe 3 apps max. So you have the big 4 winners. YouTube dominating with ad scale, Netflix with its premium edge, JioHotstar with its cricket monopoly, and Amazon bundling video right in with your fast shipping. Meanwhile, the other 36-plus regional platforms in India are fighting a really tough losing battle for the leftover scraps. Most are just burning cash, doomed to either consolidate or shut down entirely.
So where's this whole thing heading? Well, over the next few years, we're going to see some massive technological shifts. Connected TV, or CTV, recently hit 129 million users. People are upgrading from small phone screens to smart TVs, which naturally leads to way longer binge-watching sessions. Add in the rise of fast channels, free ad-supported streaming TV, where you watch linear TV completely free with ads, plus the projection of 900 million 5G connections by 2030, enabling high-end 4K streaming everywhere. The future is all about bigger screens, higher quality, and incredibly targeted advertising.
Meanwhile, on the global stage, the streaming war is escalating dramatically. Right now, Netflix is working on acquiring Warner Bros. If that mega deal closes, it brings absolute giants like HBO and DC Comics under one single roof. This threatens to completely upend who holds the most powerful content library in India, potentially shaking up JioHotstar's grip and completely rewriting the rules of the premium market. The tectonic plates of the entire entertainment industry are actively shifting.
Which brings us to our final thought for this explainer. Remember that core paradox? The 19 million who do pay are basically subsidizing the 482 million who don't? You might think you're just kicking back on your couch watching a show, but through your behavioral data, your targeted ad views, and your clicks, you are the kingmaker. You are the one keeping this multi-billion-dollar illusion alive. This streaming war is far from over. So, the next time you open an app, who are you going to crown next?